Okay. Hey, I was just talking to Garrett about ways to shake off nerves and talk about getting up and striking a power pose, making yourself look bigger than everyone else, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm good. I'm nervous. Can y'all, is this okay? It's otherwise? Okay. I guess actually I should start. So, my name is Phil and I like to play video games. I'm working on, right now, I'm gonna read some stuff, project I'm working on, it's some video game literature, or video game creative writing stuff. Looking at, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy, the old ones lately, and I always have, played that stuff, and there's, so these poems are sort of certain scenes from those different of the games, sort of exploding those scenes into exploding. I'll kind of stop there. The form I'm using is a haiku, so it's a haiku that sort of sets the scene, followed by a block of prose, and then another haiku to round it out, so it's a very contained thing. Okay. Girl wakes up alone, island at world's end after caught in tide's pool in. He fell off the edge of my dream and I woke up here. On an island I can cross in 5 steps. Zoom in and there's a house, a dog, me. Zoom in and glass photos shatter into pixels, each containing a version of your face, how I see it. Zoom out, and pan left, 3 steps, there's a cliff. On the edge of the cliff is a tombstone. Zoom in, it's a seagull bloated with far-off thunder. Zoom in, it's a white gem hexagonal. Leaning in, I pick it up and am swept into fractals, this home, this island, the 5 steps it takes to make it from the center to the edge of the cliff. I find a raft in the basement. When I pull it into the light, the wood splinters at my feet. Taking a splinter, I pierce it through my eye, try to separate the expanding crystallizations of you, there, and my body and island. I pull the splinter out and comes trailing seagulls gorged in my gut. Seagulls try to fly, but remember this is the end. I gather them in my arms, toss them in heaps into ocean, and lean out until seagull is flossom, is landmass, is island, drifting. But no one told me this was a loop. That the purple water surrounding me only swirls in, and 1 step over 5 brings me drifting back to 1. There's a tower in the distance beyond my edge. Zoom in, and the tower is a lighthouse broken. Zoom in, and the tower is crystal dropped from a dream. Zoom out, because lighthouse is for warning away, but what is away when this is the end? What is island when there is nothing else? I disassemble the house of splinters and build a crystal hexagonal, set myself inside and seal off the exit. Set myself spinning, and in this spinning, weave a darkness that I can lean into and still see only leaning into. Zoom out, a life set inside a body. Zoom out, a crystal set inside a crystal. A girl set inside a crystal. Zoom out, a crystal set in space, spinning. Crystal shatters and shards that rain down meteors, embed in sand. Okay. Boy stumbles on dead arms that dream locked into wall sentence. I am a composite of dead limbs. I am a riot of blood cells burst, genetic links grown brittle and snapped. I have peered into the world with my fingertips and found oblivion racing along their canyon edges. My oblivion has bloomed, has gravitated the architecture of this world, you, into its pandemonium orbit. There is a dark city dreaming or sun collapsing in my center, and I am bound by laws of solar flare, how my hatred lashes out and arcs back on itself. My hatred disassembles my bones, carries them away in crystal spheres and hides them beyond my will. Skeleton and structure have been locked away, and I am wraith haunting ziggurats. In my sun rage, I dismantle these towers whose steps are the faces of my father ascending, find you sulking, sucking on marrow beneath. I've siphoned my marrow out of your mouth. I've wrapped it around my shifting form, but marrow is dreaming and refuses my will, drifts into orbit with the memory of you trailing. And I am not sure who the ghost is anymore, whose body my hatred grows and wears its skin. I have learned to burst from form when I cannot contain myself. I scream outwards, but my voice is ricocheted by the bodies bloomed around me spinning, and I condense into landscape. And from this landscape tears crystal rivers you drink from when my sun evaporates everything else. You, hollow you, drink and float up, crushed flat in the cosmic canyon ridges dislocated. My landscape eats itself alive. Rock slides mountains down its throat with the fury of its own gravity. I am amber melting, shuddering the ground above and the ground below. Crystal rivers rush in and I dissipate into steam trailing through to expand gases and quicken collapse. My crystal flow etches lines and landscape, which is canyon, which is mind, and I am not sure who the ghost is anymore, whose memory I have constructed, am constructing. From my flotsam orbit I pull down limbs. From my flotsam orbit I weave with marrow. In my collapse, I am setting you translucent in my womb. Crystal collapses, eats through layers of self, breaks, and force, and forward, forces. Okay. Two more. Close to the mic? Yeah. Thanks. That's Steven. And that's Judy, who gave me this necklace. It's really pretty. Thank you, Judy. Girl, unbound from crown of twisted magicite, shrieks into the night. I look inside of myself and my voice is choked with lightning. Fleeing, I dervish over deserts and mountains, trailing garbled thunder that comes to you a shrieking train. My thoughts, bleached, my body, coal and coursing iron. I find a lighthouse in a cave that extends both ways. At the top of my lighthouse is air, space, the clarity of rivers untainted. At the bottom is a waterfall which roars dragons in my ears, tells me to rip the world to pieces. I carry my waterfall as a cape on nights when I hear your voice and the tearing of the wind. Climbing to the top of my lighthouse, I cast my waterfall upon the valley below as muffling rain. Here, I am girl without crown, girl unbound. Here, my arm flexes mountains, my tongue laps oceans, and my feet imprint stars. My lighthouse stands in the center of the ruined world we have created. Plates shift on poisoned water and slew villages off their backs. My veins pulse, trenches open. I have eaten my mother. Have sewn the face of my father over my own, but it slips off in my sleep, bloody, and I remember blood. You, that once I was not made of iron and lighthouse. Once I was girl with crown, bound in the world, bound. And once I opened a mountain, and inside was myself and the many faces of my father taking flight on leather wings. Lightning struck me inward, and I fled inside. This morning, my fingers have crystallized into light structures which I peer through and prism shift two worlds. There can be no collapse. The plates push my lighthouse higher, raised in destruction, unburdened by homes and trees. My lighthouse digs its roots deeper, water falls into the memory of you. There can be no collapse. I look inside of myself and there is a crystal cocooning and burgeoning the walls of my lighthouse. The crystal pulses light trances under my skin. My walls are held together under pressure. I look inside of myself and there is a crystal setting you translucent in this room. Crystal rages out, boards the past from repeating, siphons future light. Okay. Now it's so dry. Okay. Death descends on girl, wraps in planet's energy. Girl is dead, dying. This morning my soul, opalescent, descends stone steps like baptism into water. Like I think I can heal this planet, my body. Like everything I want to say can be read in a crystal ball of pearl. You were surprised at how quickly it sinks. as if hope could float and you could breathe underwater, grow gills and learn to lead a different life. As if the cells in your body are not shedding themselves for memory of me, but perhaps this is the only way, death, a final sending. When I close my eyes, the world flashes green, and from a cosmic distance I hear a great wind approaching. I am carried in the pools of eyes. I watch from the bottom of ocean and space as the world pivots, leans, cracks. I surge, fissures, expand my body to include all of you, this life. My dissolution is milk white as crystal murk. I flow into and through this planet, sea foam crash against rocks buried deep, infiltrate mineral veins that expand and send plates crashing down. I am caught in this cycle. Every morning, a little death as you cast farther and farther for the bones you have put to rest that have since and always will vaporize in exhalations of breath. Have you seen the desert rolling towards the ocean as great snakes in the night? The topmost layer of human skin is dead, flaking and falling like meteor to mar, collect, grow on a surface made invisible. Find my breath where sand meets water. Perhaps the ocean will take you to my core. Perhaps, floating out and out, you will forget what it is we are here to do. Prepare for death coming or learn to hold it to our chest. In the center of the ocean is stasis. In the center of the ocean is a crystal whose jag reaches to the bottom and fractures. In the center of the ocean is a crystal which pulls and pulls tide. Find me at the center. Forget what you have known, that you are forgetting, that you have forgotten. The crystal pulls inward, a great gathering of light, blanket of ground, fall. Thanks.